Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'll show you how I transfer my memories of a very emotional day onto canvas. We'll talk about the painting process itself, the importance of composition and working with colors, and how to convey emotions. I'll also share a little bit about the interesting history of the windmills I'll be painting. I'm starting by toning my canvas, which makes the whole painting process much easier for me. First, the canvas isn't a scary white void anymore, so it's psychologically easier to start. There is less fear of making a mistake and ruining the clean surface. Second, I don't have to worry about missing a spot and having a tiny white patch show through. Third, this toning layer peeking through between brushstrokes and from under semi-transparent colors automatically unifies the entire color scheme of the painting, making it more cohesive. And fourth, this acrylic toning layer adds an extra thin coat of gesso, which is also quite useful. All in all, it is an incredibly simple yet indispensable step that solves multiple problems at once. I love doing it. I always tone my canvas with acrylic paint. Sometimes I use pure paint, sometimes slightly thinned with water, and sometimes mixed with acrylic gesso, which gives different results. Today I'm choosing to mix white acrylic gesso with a small amount of brown paint, so my base layer is quite light. This is what I do most often. It's the safest option. The background is still close to white, so the workflow isn't any different from a standard approach. On top of this first layer, I can paint with acrylics, oils, or many other materials like oil pastels. Today I'll be working with acrylics. Their fast drying nature suits my mood the best. The weather on the day of the shoot was truly Dutch. Heavy rain, strong winds, and then intermittent bright sun. Everything changed every 10 minutes, and honestly, it was a bit dizzying. Now that the canvas is prepared, it's time to arrange the object on it. The underpainting or compositional sketch is probably the most crucial stage of the entire work. If I make a mistake now, and place the object poorly on the canvas, I won't be able to say what I want to say. No matter how well I execute the rest of the painting, the piece will surely fail. That's why I try to take a break of a couple of hours between this stage and the actual painting. This lets me come back to the canvas with fresh eyes and make correction if needed. And yes, I learned to do this the hard way. There were a few times, unfortunately, when I made a silly mistake and the result was a beautiful painting that was poorly positioned on the canvas. It is so frustrating. This time too, it didn't work out on the first try. After I placed these 3 windmills on the canvas for the camera, I significantly corrected them 2 more times off camera. Now you're seeing the second version. Here I moved the middle-sized windmill to the right. And then I also made the largest windmill thicker and the smallest one taller. And only after I was completely confident that I liked the composition did I finally move on to the painting itself. While I paint, I want to tell you about the history of the windmills and the day I'm painting. A few weeks ago, my husband and I had a big event. We bought our first car in the Netherlands. We went to the town of Alkmaar in North Holland to pick it up, and on the way we came across these windmills. There are 4 of them in total. They stand along a curving canal, one after another, creating a simply stunning landscape. I already talked about my love for Dutch windmills in a previous video. I will leave a link in the description, as well as the important role they used to play in the Dutch water management system. These specific windmills are a perfect example. They were built in the mid-17th century to pump water through the canal from the low-lying polders in the Alkmaar area. Originally there were 6 of them, but only 4 have survived. Of course, they are no longer in operation, and water is now managed by more modern structures. But these old windmills are a historical legacy. They are managed by a foundation created by enthusiasts, and on their website you can read about their history and who lives in them now. They are inhabited, and sometimes you can even visit them, but only by appointment. I'm also leaving a link to the foundation's website in the description. The size of these windmills impressed me so much, precisely because they are beautifully arranged in a curving line, and as we approached our destination, they appeared one by one. First one, then a second, and then a third appeared in the distance between them. And since the moment was already very emotional, we were going to buy a car after all, I was so excited about everything and about each new windmill showing up. And the whole day was both scary and fun and very nerve-wracking. And I want to convey these feelings in my painting. So once the composition is decided, the fun painting part began. At this point, I can essentially relax and enjoy myself. Still, I face 2 challenges: tone and color. First, let's talk about tone. I'm leaving the sky for last. It's clear that it will be the lightest part. The windmills and trees, however, looked very dark on that cloudy day, and that works for me. However, even in these dark monoliths, there are areas of light and shadow, and they must be considered. I don't plan to paint in a super realistic style with all the details. I want to convey my feelings more than photographic accuracy. But it is necessary to break everything down into the darkest and lightest area, as I want my windmills to be more complex than just monochromatic silhouettes. And now to the color. I work with color even more abstractly than with tone. I barely follow the original. The original windmills are simply dark gray, in some places almost black. And today I don't want to paint them that way. I want more life in them, more emotions, a pulsating contrast of warmth and coolness. It will help convey the nervousness I felt when I was looking at them. That's why I'm making the shadows reddish brown and the light areas bluish. I really had fun with the colors, keeping everything dark but making it interesting. Finally, I move on to the sky. The sky turns out to be very dual. On one hand, when painting the sky, I use light paint to cut the form of the windmill silhouettes, making them sharper. This part requires maximum precision and neatness. On the other hand, it is at this stage that I happily unleash my inner abstract expressionist and spread the painting across the canvas with great joy and freedom. It's not a simple process. You have to be both precise and careful around the windmill silhouettes, while also working with the broad, expansive strokes. There is a balance of relaxation and tension in this, which perfectly suits the feeling I want to convey. The sky came out very dramatic and emotional, and it sets the tone for the overall mood of the piece, in contrast with the sharp and massive silhouettes of the windmills, the ambivalence I wanted to show. and to the details. Just a few last strokes, they are what will bring our windmills together and bring them to life. The windows, blades, and various structural details, and of course the signature. It is important though not to overdo it and to add details very, very carefully because they can easily ruin the impression. So I'm making just a few really, really light and cautious strokes. So here is the result of my work today. The painting turned out very emotional and perhaps even a bit gloomy, but I'm quite happy with that. What do you think? Thank you for sharing this day with me. If you liked my process and my windmills and you want more painting, sketching and thoughts on art, then please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. See you soon!